Today I'm going to talk about my experience with the Blue Yeti microphone. Right here is the Blue Yeti microphone, as you're all familiar with. Blue Yeti microphone is probably the top selling microphone for podcasters. It's not the best quality microphone out there for podcasting, but it is fairly simple, fairly inexpensive, easy to set up, which is one of the reasons why this was my first podcasting microphones. Now, the reason why people love this so much is because it comes in roughly around $100, maybe a little bit more than $100. I believe it's about $115 now. You can probably get it for a little bit less than that. It's from some sites. It's a heavy microphone, of course. They make it fairly heavy, so it sits down, it doesn't move anywhere. So my experience with this being heavy is great because I can have it, maybe bump into it, it won't go anywhere. So, I mean, I don't know if that's a perk or anything like that, but that's just one thing to notice. It's a fairly heavy microphone. It sits down on the desk like this. You can adjust it by moving these right here, these side knobs right here, get it to the position that you want, and then lock it down. Now I want to talk about like when you get it to the position you want. This microphone works by talking into it from the side. A lot of people may think that you talk to it by talking at the top. That's not where the receptors are. They're actually on the sides, okay? Like right here for like mono, and right here for stereo, and then there's an omnidirectional where it gets it all around. I'll go over that in a second. So on the microphone, you have the classic volume, all right? So the volume is just for when you have headphones plugged in at the bottom, you can actually hear the feedback into your ear. This does not adjust the volume that goes into the computer. There's a gain button, which I will go over in a second. On the front is a mute button. The mute button is mute button. I use it quite often. Say, for instance, you need to take a break, breather, sip of water, or you just don't want people to hear you talk. The mute button is very valuable. All right, so you have the mute button right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you on the back side of it. Now, I talked about the stereo, mono, and omnidirectional microphone. Well, you have settings on the back where you can adjust. There's the gain, I talked about that, I'll go over that in a second. So right here you have different settings for where the pickup is from when you're talking into it. All right, so we'll go over the first settings. We'll start from the left and work our way all the way to the right. Right here, where it looks like two eggs side by side, that is stereo. So when you're talking into it, you actually talk into it on the side where the Blue Yeti is right here. You talk into it and it'll pick up sounds in stereo mode from left and right, all right? So that's stereo mode. Next is the omnidirectional. So it picks up the entire compass of the room. So it picks up sound from all over on the sides. The sound. So it's good for if you have a group where you just want to pick up a lot of room noise while you're talking. I sometimes use the omnidirectional mode. The next one is this right here. This is the mono. All right, you see that? I have this selected right here. That's mono direction. So it doesn't do stereo, doesn't do left and right. It's just like one direction. Speak into it from the side right here. See where it has Blue Yeti on the side? Right there. Again, do not speak up in from the top because that's not where it picks up sound. So from the side where the blue is, it picks up sound right there. All right, the next one you have, this is the dialogue feature right here. So you can sit across from someone, like say for instance, you have the microphone placed on the table, and you can have a conversation and it will pick up sound from this side as well as this side. And when you have this setting on, I typically have the microphone on vertical. I'm sitting on this side. The person I have the conversation with is on the other side, and we are talking to each other, and the microphone picks it up beautifully. All right, so that's the directional settings for the microphone. All right, I typically like to use either the mono or the stereo when I am podcasting. All right, so that's the direction. The next thing we want to talk about is the gain. Now, the gain is how loud, how much input is going into the computer that you have it hooked up to. All right, so the gain right here, it starts off, if you twist it all the way counterclockwise, that is no gain. And you can turn the gain up to increase the output from the microphone. I typically try to keep it all the way down and then just adjust the settings within the computer. But if you don't have the setting in your computer where you can adjust the gain, you might want to use the gain right here. All right, so that's the controls on the microphone. Now this right here is not the Pro version, so it does not have XLR. It actually has right here this USB type of configuration. This is actually an older type of USB on this end that plugs in, but the other side has a standard USB. If you have a Mac or computer or something like that, you can actually get an adapter to plug it into your computer. Right here, the standard USB. In this old version, I forgot what, I think that's mini, I'm not sure. But either way, this right here is where you plug it in. This cable, you can get it online somewhere fairly cheap if this cable actually runs down. And in my case, this right here actually comes loose. It still works, but it slips out. It's not as tight as it used to be back in the early days when I got this microphone. It slips out occasionally, but it will stay in place if I don't bother too much. But that's one thing to take notice of. This component right here comes loose. Right here, you can actually take this out and put the microphone on the stand of your choice. I tend not to do that. I keep it on the stand and on a table. And this right here is the headphone jack for monitoring your work, your podcast, whatever you're talking about. So overall, I've been using this microphone. Are there a lot of microphones that are better? Absolutely, but this is a great value. If you're just getting into the podcasting market, this microphone might be for you. One of the things I've noticed with this microphone is it picks up popping a lot. And so you may want to get a windscreen with this microphone. I should leave a link in the description part of the page for like windscreens, which are good for this. Or you can get that a windscreen, or you can get, I can't think of the name, a muff that goes on top of it, which a lot of people choose, but it blocks more of the sound than a windscreen does with the sock on top of it. I should leave a link in the description part of the page for that too. But overall, this is a great microphone. It's worked well for me. Great entry level, gives you good sound for the price, a really good sound for the price. Fairly common, easy to connect. You connect it, your computer typically picks it up right away. You shouldn't have any issues like with downloading drivers or anything like that. The microphone is great, but that's the Blue Yeti. This is my experience with it. It's been great. Let me know if you have any questions about the Blue Yeti, if you're interested in getting into it or anything like that. Check out the description part of the page for more information. Thanks a lot for watching. Let me know if you have any questions.